Oh. What's that?
I will complain about you, really. Does anyone want to go first?
Bye.
I'll stand over here. I have slides. I'll just stand here.
Okay.
Are they tattooed on your chest?
Okay.
No, that's like a totally inefficient use of my chest. Oh yeah,
I have your PDF.
Yeah.
So you're going with the PDF instead of the magazine?
yeah, that's what I meant to say. PDF.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
Sorry.
No. Yeah. I'll send it in that door. Zoom is a pretty easy word that I shouldn't have been able to type. Instead I typed Zom, and I can't log on to Zom. Well, that's
Weird. I would find to type Zoom and I just typed Zig on.
Oh no. All of us are struggling.
Thank you, Sam.
All right.
After this, please show me how to text to my computer.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, good. It's my face.
First time we used Zoom. Last time I couldn't play my video thing. I never would check.
There you go.
Yep.
All right. Can you fit that to the screen?
There's a presentation. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
full screen.
Wow, I didn't post today.
I muted
I
myself.
just realized I didn't do the thing that today.
I keep using your mic, but not the my computer.
All right. How's that?
Now your mic is on.
All right. How's that?
Try it again.
Yeah. Good. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
Yay!
I am.
Next time, Adam needs to
I don't know why, but I can't get rid of these tabs, man.
try.
Command Shift F.
Just
Oh.
in.
Yeah. See, it says always show toolbar and full screen.
Say that louder.
Command Shift F. Always show
See up
toolbar
there.
and full screen.
Uncheck that.
Uncheck that. Oh.
So, someone say that louder to me.
Always show toolbar in full screen.
That guy.
Uncheck that.
Uncheck that.
Nice.
Sorry for touching your screen.
Okay.
Woo!
Now, can I get rid of this camera? Yeah. Can the head go away?
Disembodied head of Adam
Drag it
Satterwhite.
to one side and two.
Drag it on top
Sounds
of
like a
that
really
guy's
good- So
elbow,
now I need
actually.
to exit full screen.
I feel like I would read that.
You have to do.
Fine. Stop video. Nope.
What?
Dog.
Just this isn't interfering with me.
It's gone. It's gone. What'd you do?
Away.
Can you
Turn it off.
like? I think that's like a screen so you can see the whole thing?
Okay,
Or just zoom out a little bit?
that's literally the most I can do.
Okay, that's fine. This is I will start now. This is my first illustration that I ever had published in a real magazine. This is Forbes magazine from November 28th, 2005. I thought it was a prank from a teacher that I got the email because I got it on a Sunday night, and it was labeled urgent, and I thought, why the hell are they going with a total rookie? They might, I guess they didn't know I was a rookie, but they had certainly never heard of me. So I didn't know why they were going with me via email and not a phone call when they were going to press the next day. It's fine. So I thought it was a prank, and I kind of I blew it off, and then I went back to it an hour later. I'm like, I don't know who would play this prank on me, so I'm going to follow up. And I wrote them back, and then I don't remember the exact transaction. This article is about, I think, people changing the dates on checks or investments or something. I didn't understand it, but I know that the postcard that I sent to this art director, Charles Boucalier, I think that's how you say his name, the guy that I drew had a top hat on, and he said, "We like the top hat." So they wanted a top hat, and he basically told me what to draw was changing dates. So this guy's putting calendar dates back into the calendar, I think. I don't quite remember. I do remember that I was supposed to see Kanye West that night, and I blew off doing sketches to go see Kanye West, and I don't regret it. I just pulled an all-nighter to do it. So this is a tiny little spot illustration, this big, and it took me all night, and I called out of work the next day to work on it again, and it is, I don't see, you don't see that at all. This is such a stiff drawing that I could probably do in an hour or two now, and it would be a way better drawing. But whatever, it ran, and that was a lot of fun. That was a full rush, so that was a notch. That was a huge weight off my shoulders. I graduated in May of 2005 from school, so it felt like I did it. Yeah, that's all. So I can go to the next one now, unless anyone has questions about this. Wish I could explain what it actually. Oh, there it is on the page. I scanned that page yesterday.
Your signature seems the same.
Probably. Yeah, I guess. I didn't notice.
What was the context of the article? Was it
If I remember, 2004,
5.
yeah, backdating stock options as part of executive management was a big issue.
That sounds familiar. There was something with backdating that I didn't understand, and I had to have him explain it to me. And he said they're basically changing the dates on something that they're submitting, and were they cracking down on it, or was it illegal?
No, so what they were doing is tech companies were, when they were bringing senior executives on, they were saying, oh, yeah, we'll backdate your stock options to the beginning of the year so we know exactly the price for forecasting purposes. So you get a really big break on the cost of the stock options. We'll go to the cheapest particular time in the last 12 months. That's when we'll grant them to you, and everything on the upside is yours to keep.
That makes sense.
There were no clear rules about doing that except tomorrow.
Yeah, that makes sense because I was asked to show greed, which was demonstrated in the cigar, and he was a fat cat. So
Yes, he is.
Yeah. I was also into this thing. I still love this guy's work, Joe Chargello, and another guy, Jack Unruh, who's the god of illustration. They wouldn't color the whole thing, and that's another art. They just kind of stopped. So I was really into that, and I still am. I don't think I did it effectively here, but I don't know. I was fresh out of school, so I was trying stuff and whatever. It worked and it printed, and I still couldn't believe it. I thought it was a prank, so I was still in this mode of, I'll show whoever pranked me that it actually did go to print.
It's a very elaborate prank that they published.
Yeah.
Suckers.
Okay, so we can go to the next one, if you don't mind, please. This is a drawing for Magnet Magazine. I do their back page illustration, which is written by Phil Sheridan, who's a sports writer around here. He's been doing it for 30 years. Not the back page. I don't know how long he's been doing that, but this is about one of his favorite bands. He had he got diagnosed with some kind of cancer, and I'm not, like, I should remember what kind of cancer it is, but this band, oh my God, they're slipping my mind now. I've talked with people here about it. That's their logo. So he's seen them like 100 times, and he never misses them when they come through. And knowing that he had tickets to a show when he got out of the hospital, knowing that he had tickets waiting for him to a show, got him through his stay. So he's still, leukemia. So obviously he still has the leukemia, but he's dealing with it, and like keeping his music, looking forward to concerts is keeping him positive about it. So that's this one.
Oh, wow.
So that's like a stamp for when you go to a show.
No.
So this is kind of like an evolution of ideas. That with the first one, I had to be told what to draw, kind of, for the most part. And this one, I'm totally left on my own, and I'm obsessed with not the way I draw, but showing, like, being clever in editorial illustration. So clever to me is showing two things at one time. So he was in the hospital, and he's still going to concerts. And then the next slide is it on the page. And it's still thrilled, like, it is the best thing to see them in print. Even though this isn't my best work necessarily, I don't think. I have other things that I'm really proud of. But I still get to see it in print. And then the last one, if you don't mind, I feel like this is my best editorial idea I've ever come up with, and it's my most recent one, also for the back page, so it's not even in print yet. So, like, sneak peek here, surprise. About how he writes a lot, like, he wraps politics into the music that he listens to, and he talks about how in the 60s and 70s he had rock and roll as this way of rebelling against authority, and now we don't have that anymore. We have, like, pop music. So this is about how he wishes there was a good rock band, but they're all gone. So I'm really proud of this idea. I'm really into I used to be really into drawing really well. Still am, but I'm more into showing a really, like, a complex idea simply.
I like the records and the dirt.
Yeah, I actually met Jack Unruh in school, and he called that rewarding the viewer, like giving something that most people would probably miss, but if someone stuck around, it would be worth it for them. So I try to keep that in mind. I didn't know what else to put in there, but also this doesn't pay that much. I do it because I like it. So I'm not spending so much time drawing skeletons and whatever to move on. So that's all.
So in terms of just a measurement of effort, how long did it take you to produce this from beginning to finish, as opposed to your first piece in 2005?
The finish took probably 4 or 5 hours. There's procrastination and hesitation in that. Like, I'm afraid to make the first mark entirely, and then I'm afraid to make the first mark of, like, a new section or something like that. So, like, the grass, I had to sit there and psych myself up because that was micron pens, and I don't use them. I haven't used them before. So just with different mark making, I have to psych myself up. Yeah. So like 4 or 5 hours, but also I take the sketches way more seriously. Like, I insist on, with myself, sending 3 ideas that I'm really proud of, because I spent a lot of time sending, like, 2 ideas I was really proud of, and then they pick the one that I hated. So I really try to spend a lot of time doing sketches. So this is not worth the money, but I really love the topics that he gives me. And also, I have total creative freedom, and I control the deadline for the most part. I get pretty long deadlines, and Phil, the writer, loves them too. So it makes me feel good. So yeah, 4 or 5 hours probably for the finish. And the finish is 8 by 8 because that's what fits on the scanner. Yeah. All these things are practical. I don't want to tile because that takes more time. Stuff like that.
It's really interesting to me the different way that you use color between this and the first one. Like, it feels like you're less intimidated. Yeah, you still have white space in interesting ways. It's just it's kind of interesting the way you layer color a little bit more. Like, it's not just one tone.
Thanks. It's not so much I'm less intimidated. It's that I don't like coloring things. I really hate it. If I could just hand in line drawings, I'd be thrilled. But that's another skill. Using just ink to fill a page is a whole other skill that I don't have. Like, using black is, you're a god if you can use black and just fill a page with that. I don't have that ability, so I have to lean on the color to do that. But I hate coloring, so to me this looks kind of sloppy. Yeah, that's what. Like I have this big fat watercolor brush that I just load up, and that's just like plop. That's what this is. That's what this is. That's what all this. That's what this is.
A glimpse behind your
Yeah.
Yeah. No, these are so much cleaner looking before I color them. I love the line ones, but it just doesn't do the trick for publishing.
I think the thing I'm most interested in is you said you try to be clever in your images and come up with different ideas. Like in this, the gravestones in the one prior, the hospital bands and the concert stamps. How do you come up with those? How do you brainstorm those ideas? Do you just sketch it, or do you write it down?
Yeah, usually I draw. If you look at my sketchbooks, they're pretty boring. They're just loaded with squares that I just draw quickly, and then I just try to fill them in with as many ideas as possible. So it's like, and then there's like word association in between the squares, so I'll try to riff on a word and show that a million different ways. For this, I usually end up drawing almost everything I submit has some kind of guitar in it. And then if I did a guitar last month, I'll cross that out. I'm going to submit guitars all the time. But I love seeing other people's excitement for music, so that gives me a lot to work with this one in particular.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Even though the strings are like disconnected, so it's like a dead instrument.
Yeah.
I love the blue shit.
I love the gloomy shit. I love the gloomy shit. I can't help it.
So emo.
It's so true. I love an undead guitar. What's cooler than that?
Yeah, he likes the fact that it could be a swamp.
Yeah.
There should be some sort of thing
That's
in
true.
the swamp in the shape of a man.
Yeah.
If I had more time, or if this was part of a book, say, if I was explaining this in a book where I knew it would last forever instead of periodical, I'd break off these knobs, and this would be way more destroyed. But I'm trying to show an idea quickly because, again, I don't get paid much for this, and it's less than long. So that has to do with the deadline too, which I learned on that first job. Working inside the deadline, there's only so many things you can show effectively.
I like how you do your signatures in the lines.
Oh yeah, that's to hide my signature.
And I think the screens are different thicknesses as well. It's very cool. It actually looks like a guitar, because somebody who doesn't play is just going to draw the strings all the same thickness.
Yeah.
I don't play, and I didn't want anyone to judge me for it.
I'm not judging you.
No, not you. Not you. I don't want to present myself as some authority on how to. I'm drawing a guitar gigantic, so I want to get it right in case. I'm sure there's a guitar player reading that magazine that's going to be like, this shit. I don't want that. Though the some gravestone maker is probably. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks,
That is
Mike.
nice.
Pam, you want to go next?
Sure. How are you doing the slides and stuff? I can just send it to Adam.
Oh, okay.
That's what the easiest.
There you go. Or you can send it to me.
I just didn't know who was presenting.
I'm.
Okay.
Either one. Okay. I'm not sure who you just. Alright.
Okay.
One piece.
There's projects and things. Woo!
So I'll start with what I'm working on right now, and I'm talking about my jobby job kind of stuff and professional things. But so that's the next slide. So I make things on the internet. if I do this.
Okay.
So I used to say that I make things on the internet, but now I say I make things with computers because it's because the way I got interested in getting into like why I decided to do it as a career was because of the internet. But now I feel like you don't really do computers without the internet, or at least they must be aware of it. And so I just generalized that to computers now. The company I work on with right now is called IO Pipe. We do monitoring for serverless, with which we will take a detour where we will talk about what the fuck is serverless. So there's 4 bullet points. Yes, there are servers. We aren't idiots. So it's a term referring to if you're running on some cloud, specific types of cloud infrastructure. But basically the summary, if you don't know or care about that, is that it's ridiculously cheaper. So if you have heard about like the cloud and what the cloud is, like it's this is the newer, cheaper way of doing it, and it's really kind of like rocking the cloud architecture world of what there is. Yeah, so there's lots of cool things happening. So I actually really like that right now. So detour over. And some of the things I've done in the last 6 months that I think have been really exciting, most of these are like, there's just like names of things I found interesting, like GraphQL, which I know Javon's worked with, and Redux, and Terraform. Kubernetes is cool. We don't use it anymore, but that was interesting.
You're not the only person that said that.
It was neat. I've been writing lots of things, and it's just been really fun. So that's kind of what I'm working on now. I think it's like, I think when you see like what I've worked on then, there's like a definite distance between the two. So, anyway, then, so my first job out of college, I moved to DC, and I worked, I had to use the Wayback Machine because like it looks totally different now. And I think that this is like a thing of like when you make things on the internet, like the stuff that you work on doesn't exist anymore. So like, luckily the Wayback Machine can show you that I worked on a fiscally conservative think tank for a year. And I ran their IT, which means that I learned, like I just remember that I have a bunch of notes sitting there on my computer. But so this was a Drupal website. I was learning PHP at the time. Oh, now I remember what I was going to say. So this was like my Pam's big first project using web programming, because this used to have buttons and they were down here, and like, so it was like a slider, but I didn't know how to make the buttons up here on the side, so that's why they were down there. No one else knew anything about web programming, so they couldn't complain. But like I made a slider and I used jQuery to do it, and I was super proud of that. And it was neat, and I used that to move on into like my next job where I did more things and then more things. Now I like work on cloud architecture, which I would have no idea what that was back then. So that was my first job. Yeah. I don't know, questions I talked about.
So how did you, so now you're like working on server, are you more back end now? Have you kind of like worked your way deeper into the cave?
I think so. Because I think there's a couple reasons for that. One, that I'm a shit designer, and I've noticed that when you make like front-end web development, then now people expect you to be a designer.
Yeah.
And I'm a shit designer, so like that was just I wasn't gonna be employed if I kept in the front end. So I decided like, and I find computers really interesting. I think the fact that we like communicate with each other using like tubes that are attacked by sharks underneath the ocean, or like that, and that we all carry around like, or at least in the case of like Android, but like you carry on like fully fledged Linux machines in your pocket, and you're like, oh yeah, whatever, it's my phone. I like dropped it in the toilet the other day. Like that's really cool. So yeah, so I don't know, that's like my teacher, but like I do think I'm more back end now. But like I just like to, I wish I could just be like, I do stuff with computers, and people would be like, that's cool. I don't like the delineation.
Okay.
Thank you for presenting. This is very exciting. What's your favorite? I just want to hear your development into SDKs.
Yeah.
What's your favorite metaphor that you had come up with or image to explain WTF serverless?
Yeah.
In those SDKs to fellow technical people?
Oh, so like an SDK, like, because the SDK is if you wanted to, so we do monitoring for serverless. So like it's kind of nice because we get to assume that you know what it is when you come to our estimate. Because if you don't know what AWS Lambda is, and we have run some like AWS Lambda workshops, and like if you all want one, I can teach you how to use AWS Lambda. Like usually it's more like, because if you're like a hobbyist, you don't really need monitoring. Like if it goes down, it's more like if you're a company, you already know what serverless is, and you're looking at it, and you're like, oh, like I need to like know when this goes down, and like the traditional ways of knowing the answer to that question don't work. So that's why we work on it. That's why it's super interesting.
How do you play with orthogonal to PagerDuty? Is it a similar monitoring?
No, so PagerDuty receives information from monitoring systems. So like they would receive information from us because PagerDuty basically, they handle the thing that no one wants to handle, which is like sending you a push notification or like texting you or calling you based on schedules and preferences and on-call schedules and stuff like that. And that is their entire value model. Like it's really boring, but like that's why they do it. And so people pay for it. Yeah.
If you could give a piece of advice to little Pam back in the day starting out in IT, what would you tell her?
Little Pam.
Little Pam.
Little Pam.
I don't know, because like I think a lot of the traits that made me really successful are like things I was already doing. Maybe just like what you're doing is okay, because like I took a lot of aggressive risks, like in terms of career-wise, like changing jobs like every year, or like one time after 6 months. But like always being like, I'm gonna get the next opportunity in the horizon that's gonna help, like always looking out for, little Pam always looked out for Pam, and not for whoever was signing her paycheck.
Really good advice.
Yeah, because whatever, fuck them. They'll fire me whenever they feel like it.
Yeah.
But like, so
What I'm understanding is that Little Pam was canceled.
Yeah. Sounds
Slightly.
Sounds right.
Little Pam walked in. Fuck you, baby.
Young Pam.
I should have insurance.
So you mentioned that you've mostly focused on back end now.
Nowadays,
because
yeah.
you've realized that design is not necessarily something
It's
that
not
you
for
like
me.
to do.
Yeah.
That's interesting because it seems like now everybody's got to be full stack or die.
Oh,
So have you found that people understand your specialization?
Probably not, because I don't think I'm really specialized. Like before I ended up with this job, I was doing consulting after I quit my corporate job, and like that's kind of fun. And like I have friends who have kind of nailed this angle in a way where they get like the reputation of the person who does things. And like one of his projects that was really cool is he was working with like a circus and built like the embedded electronics in the outfits that they wore.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and it's like, I mean, I could do that. Like, there's no reason I can't do that, but it's just like, how do I be the person that someone's like, my circus troupe? You know, like I could figure that out. But yeah, just like being like doing a variety of projects of like, I could do mobile, I could do these things, and because I think it's also that, I think that's always the question between specialization and generalization is like, there are a lot of people who say that they can be generalists and then they can't actually do it. And then like they would be better off just specializing and not lying to people. But
I think Amanda Thomas explained it well one day when we were talking daily goals. She's like, I just pick like 3 or 4 things that are like kind of just what I care most about in life. And then whenever someone makes me an offer, I just decide whether or not it aligns with those in any way, shape, or form that I find interesting. I kind of do that. And I've been doing that like video and marketing and web and just still kind of staying in that line. But I get to create a lot of interesting things.
Right.
But it makes it easier for the whole, like, as Solid says, you know, marketing. You do one thing and you can market that. It doesn't have to be just one theme.
Yeah.
But if it stays within a series of themes, it's a whole lot easier.
Yeah. Like I'm thinking like, I don't know, maybe I'll feel differently a year from now, but I really like this cloud architecture thing. Like, I'm really digging it. Because it's like, it ends up encompassing a lot of interesting problems like scalability and like availability and costs and money. One of my favorite things.
It's probably only going to keep growing.
Yeah, and it's not
For a
like
long
it's going
time.
away.
For a very, very long time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Pam.
Pam. Okay. Dain or Javon, which one do you guys want to see?
I could go.
Yeah, good. Javon, if you do you have Zoom?
I do not have.
If you want to.
No, I do have Zoom.
Oh, right.
I'm a liar.
You can hop into Zoom and share your screen. Just do the audio from there.
Meeting ID. Like Indy Hall.
I think you click the link.
4, 5, 5,
rather
8,
than open the
7,
Zoom app.
3, 8, 1, 0, 4.
So, give you the Morse code.
Yeah, that's open.
Yeah.
This one, when I graduated.
Word. And then that green button. Turn your volume.
So,
The green under there. Screen. Just grab wherever your audio is. And you can actually mute your own screen and where your camera is.
Okay. All right. Let me just. Oh, I really should have done this one. It's okay though. Actually, how do I change it to?
Yeah, I think if you go to new share,
Good job.
What streets?
at the top.
I'm definitely a new one.
It's going to be the
Yeah, that's what size?
fanciest,
Oh, I
fanciest
guess
Billy
it's,
Block party
Let me.
You can just take the SUV and just park it in front of the street for like, you know.
So
Got my
new share.
jumpsuit ready to go.
Yeah, here we go.
Wait,
It's crazy, by the way.
It's just listen to that.
Your face.
Yeah, just listen.
Your face right now is like, oh, been fun.
Yes.
All of us are
Do we even have to do that?
Great.
All right.
Someone else's microphone is on. They will hear. Oh, this microphone is on.
Oh.
It will hear.
Check share computer audio. Sorry, you might have to stop share screen.
Stop video.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then hit share screen again. And then do share computer stuff.
Okay.
Then that way it won't.
Hardly gets this many different inputs.
Yeah, that's why Alex and I sit separate.
And then mute your speakers. Your speakers mute on the
Oh.
computer.
Wait. What?
But if his stuff's
Yeah. Wait.
will we be able
My.
to hear it?
I'm muted on both.
Usually
wait.
share computer
Let's
audio.
just try it.
So the computer audio funnels through.
All right, so you just solved everything.
I don't hear
Because we were
anything.
just talking about like how that doesn't work.
I did that with my video last time. I was like, you can't see it or hear it. There's echo.
It's like a boob salad.
Is it going?
I don't hear anything.
Like so much
Oh yeah, we were.
Maybe it's just.
It's like chop and screw.
There's actually going to be a little demo of that.
Okay. Maybe we do need to do that. Oh, you need to hit function for that to work.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and
Okay.
it's still gonna echo. I'll try. So I won't play it unless
Wait, what? That was your music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
like,
But it's
have that
Yeah.
on for it to be sharing it. That's why I don't understand. Wait,
mm,
that your system audio has to be on.
let's check and see if maybe there's like a special.
Sorry, everyone.
It worked earlier.
sorry to bring it to a grinding halt.
It says Zoom audio. Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Oh, that would be,
No, that's the
I think-
No,
airplay.
that's the other one. Okay, so it should be this one. And oh, shut up. Adam, can you chat with someone from Zoom?
Presently?
I mean, I could just play it out of my laptop. Would that work?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you may as
we
well.
may
Hi, everyone. true English. So the other thing about that one you might notice is that it sounds like video game music, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but when you're trying to make hip hop, you don't really want it to sound like, some guy with a gun on a side scroller. So that's something that I had to learn too. So that's like where I'm at now. I've only been doing this for a year. A lot of things that have helped me in the process of like trying to learn how music production works is working with people like, for example, Rob and Mike here, people who will big you up like Sarah and Sean, and learning from the greats, like listening to sounds now in music that make you go, oh, I wonder how they did that, and you kind of like find out how to do it. So that was like a big thing of like that, and finding online mentors to like teach you new techniques and stuff. So like every time I would learn a technique, I would try to apply that to a song. So like it kind of like build on top of each other. And one of them that's really fun is like making vaporwave music, which is effectively like chopped and screwed elevator music from the 80s and like corny jazz songs, which is like super fun. And I'll play a little bit of like what the original sounded like, and then
Very Meg's like, I want to hear.
yeah, like learning like the software that I use to make music, like in its entirety, like every little nuance of it. Because before I would like, and even a little bit now, I kind of like stick to presets and like generic kind of sound, not generic, but if they're overused too much, then it just becomes like every song sounds the same. So like really learning the tool set and like freestyling off of that.
Who do you use as who do you hold up as your standard bearers?
Oh man, James Blake,
Yes.
Drake's producer 40. I actually really like whoever's doing beats for Designer. Yeah, Arca's great. FK Twigs stuff is great. Yeah.
Cool. Do you have a DJ or producer name?
Nah, nah.
Yeah, you need
I
a
should come up with one.
you need a producer name and you need your tag. Like Michael made it.
I have thought about getting like one of my little cousins to say like Javon on the beat or something.
Yeah. Jav on the beat is very good.
Very awesome.
Yeah.
I could hit that up, yes.
Like Young Metro has a shitload of them, so you can just come up with whatever you want. Jav on the beat is like a very legitimately.
That would be dope. Yeah.
Jav on the beat.
It just hits.
That's very good.
We together, javelin.
Javelin.
I
Yeah.
think would be a good
Javelin.
javelin. Yeah.
That's awesome, Javon. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
It's also hilarious to me to think about you and Rob Jackal. I just really fucking love that idea.
He has a lot of expertise and like
It's really good.
like he really knows like, and part of me like really wanting to learn my tools is because like Rob, he knows his synths in and out, so it's kind of inspiration. Synth goals.
Thanks, man.
I guess that's me.
It's you, Dain.
Cool. So I've been wanting to journal for most of my life because I hear that's something that you should do. But I never actually did it because that was just the motivation. It was like, oh, I should journal because that's what you should do. But I would always sit down at the end of the day to do the journaling. Like they said, oh, sit down, write down what happened in your day, and that's your journal. And that bores the shit out of me because one, I just did all that shit, and I don't really want to write it down again. I just did it. And my memory is pretty good, so I still like remember. It's not, I don't need to write it down so I can remember it because it just happened. So that never worked for me. But over the past couple of years, I've been sort of working with a coach trying to work through a lot of like head stuff. And what I ended up realizing was like, okay, well, I don't have to do it the way that they say to do it. We use it as a tool. And so what I started doing at the beginning of the year was instead of writing at the end of the day, I write at the beginning of the day, first thing. And I went back to something I was doing in high school, which is stream of consciousness writing. And this did two things. One, it got me in the habit of doing it before I left, so I could do it every day. And two, because it's stream of consciousness writing, it doesn't have to be good or much less legible or anything like that. The sole purpose of writing it isn't to record anything, but to sort of check in and see where I am at the beginning of the day, to see like what's going on in my head, how am I feeling, like where am I trying to be, and so that turned into this, my journal, which I'll pass around because I trust y'all. What ended up happening though is because I would only write on the right side. The left side was looking a little blank. And I've been talking with Sean about doing social media stuff and trying to get in the habit of posting things regularly, and realized, okay, well, if I need to have stuff that I can post regularly, and I'm already doing this thing every day, and the text is too small and illegible for people to see it, then I can sort of illuminate my own journal with some markers, do a little bit of amateur calligraphy, and that, one, gives me something to share, two, allows me to sort of practice this calligraphy skill, and three, it allows me to sort of summarize what I was feeling, what I was thinking about that day, in a way that as I'm flipping back through, and I can pass this around, as I'm flipping through the notebook, I can get a sense of like, okay, this is sort of what my head's been looking like over the years. So I get a very, very good sense of what's going on. So that here, this is probably one of the first things that I did. It was actually isn't in here. This was a poster idea I was working on, where I got back to this idea, like, oh yeah, you did calligraphy once, maybe again, and sort of taking the lessons that I learned for myself while doing the stream of consciousness writing and distilling them into something that I can share without necessarily sharing the very private like lessons that led there. So this is where I started. And these are some of the, which one is this? This one is this. Let's look at this one instead. So, yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. Why is there a rectangle? Go away. So yeah, a lot of practice. This is actually upside down. What are these? Go away. So yeah, a lot of practice, just trying to get back into the habit of go away and let me go to the next thing. This, there we go. I watch a lot of Seb Lester's videos because he's insanely good at everything calligraphic. And he does this thing that I am doing a bad impression of here, where you can do like really good slab sans serif by hand. I wish I had an example of one that looks good, but yeah, just sort of getting used to how these markers feel, how the marks work out. Doing a bit of black letter, because I always liked the look of it, and I didn't realize until looking into it that it's very like algorithmic. It's a very specific, like, these are the only strokes you are allowed to use to construct black letter. So this is about where that started. This was the very first attempt at figuring out what I was going to do in the book, which turned into this. So this was the first one that I did, first one I posted. What it looks like with the actual journaling, John. This was my first attempt at black letter. You can see it's jank because I didn't really pay attention to the lines. So I went, did a bit more practice, got some lines down, and this is more effort put into the black letter. So I don't usually put this much effort into the calligraphy because it's really more for me than anything else, and a lot of it is supposed to be this sort of expression of the moment. So I don't do a lot of research beforehand. I don't really do a lot of planning. It's just like, what is this gonna look like? Okay, that's what it looks like now. It's not centered. Who cares? These are the markers. I use a Pilot G2 because I like this pen a lot, even though I'm sure there are better ones. These are the only markers that make sense to me. They have a thin and a thick chisel tip. So, and then where are we now? No, why not zoom? Yeah, there we go. So yeah, these are pull quotes and what is going on? convert to ping. What the? There we go. So yeah, just trying out different things without really doing a lot of research behind them. Just trying to get a sense of, like, again, following along with that same stream of consciousness. What's in my head? What's important about these? This one I'm actually really happy with, because this entire stream was a song, the whole like page of it, and this is the chorus from that song. So I'm actually looking really forward to recording this. But yeah, that's that.
So,
More.
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
To what extent does the structure of the block lettering inform, like, writing? Like the failing New York Times is obviously like form follows function there.
Yeah.
But things obviously look like badass blog posts. How does that frame your?
So yeah, I do the writing first, and I do the writing every morning, but I do the calligraphy in batches. So if you go through, you'll see like it's still blank pages, and I just kind of go through and see, well, this is pretty easily summarizable. This I don't really know what the lesson was yet. So I figure out once going through, like, oh, this is what I can learn from this particular stream. Once I have that and I figured out like what I really want to say, knowing the words of it, and then informs what color I pick, how big the design is going to be. Like this one was about understanding what apologies are actually about, and that it's not about receiving forgiveness, but about expressing that you understand that something like and that you hurt, or that somebody is hurt. And that's something that I just didn't really fully understand until I sat down and did the stream after doing all this work. And so this was just, nothing else needed to be said out of it. But something like this, which is a more, I was thinking about capitalism, something like that, yeah. So yeah. Yeah, so this one is, yeah. So it goes from like deep emotional stuff to like capitalism's kind of fucked, to it's okay to punch Nazis. Like it's one of those sort of things where it really is whatever the hell is on my mind. This was using the same format, but to promote a monologue I performed last Wednesday, where I broke down labels and how they affect people and whatnot. So I'm finding different ways to use the format and use the fact that it's less of a journal and more of a touchstone for what I want to do, what I want to create, where I am. So yeah.
When you do the stream of conscious writing, are you doing like 1 page or 3 pages, or as
One-
long as it's
1 page.
1 page? Okay.
Yeah. So everything has a limit. It's 1 page, and that there are days where I go in and I write a couple of sentences, and it's like I don't really feel like I want to continue writing, but because I know I only have to get to the end of the page, I can always finish it. There was that one that we liked there.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I found a child on the street and I told them to. And they were. Yeah. It was. Yeah, pretty good. This is another song. I'm pretty happy about. And yeah, so I think that is it. And then, just because I think this will make Sean happy, this is what my buffer looked like for the month of March. So, everything set up for a whole month of doing that. So yeah.
Actually, I have a question about that. I'm glad you brought up your buffer.
Okay.
I've been thinking about feedback loops lately, especially with social media and posting things, and how it feels good to have people see it, respond to it, and appreciate it. So I wonder, journalism or keeping a journal for yourself is generally, I think, thought to be a more private thing. But how has that feedback loop of hearing on Instagram helped you continue to do it?
Well, it definitely, one of the things is like now I am sort of beholden to the fact that there are people that follow for the content.
Yeah. And
so even on days where I'm like, I really don't feel like doing the stream of consciousness, it's like, yeah, but I need content. And so I try and get at least a week, of worth of stuff ahead of time. And I've got probably another month worth of stream of consciousness that hasn't been illuminated as yet. So that's good. And then what is really good for me is that I just have too many things in my head and too many things that I'm trying to promote between this and like We Can Be Better and my music, and also I run a game company, and trying to make sense of all of that and make sure that at any point, like for instance when I did the monologue, because people had been following along for other things, when I was ready to say like, hey, I'm doing something, I'm gonna be somewhere, I had not only a way of doing it that made sense with the rest of my sort of online persona, but I had people that were ready to receive that message.
Yeah.
And so those sort of tangible rewards of knowing like, I always have an audience of at least, 20 people a day that if I need to say something, they'll hear it.
Yeah.
And knowing that makes it worthwhile for me to continue doing the journaling and to continue sharing it. And then also I'll get like comments from people that say like, that quote was exactly what I needed to hear today. That made my day. That taught me something, and that's rewarding. So I know that I can help other people by helping myself and sharing the process of doing that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, yeah.
Saul is like so good at producing a thing a day, and it's become something that I look forward to seeing every day in the morning or popping up in the Alex channel, which you should tag too. Your stuff has become that. Because you're constantly posting something that I now look forward to and enjoy seeing. So yeah, thanks for sharing.
Thanks for liking all. I see. Like, oh, Sean saw it.
I look forward to it. So
thank you.
It's nice. It's very nice.
The likes are very encouraging.
Yeah.
It's also been interesting too because it kind of sticks in my head like throughout the day. Like to take the Dain compliment, like that's been stuck in my head and kind of like adjusted my behavior in a way that I wanted to adjust my behavior already. Yeah. So it's not like something, but it's just been like a quick reminder, like
like a nudge,
like a mantra, like a little bit of like a mantra.
So one more reminders, like, oh yeah, you should be conscious of this thing.
Yeah, but not in like a shameful way, which I think is what is the beauty of art. Is we often feel like we've been so taught by systems that are so overworked that shame is the way that you control and change your behavior. But 9 times out of 10, it's much more powerful to have something that inspires you in some way. And I think that's what I love about art and the artists that I follow, that even to show micro bits just for whatever reason. It doesn't have to even be to make money or to do anything particular. And it doesn't even have to be forever, but it's the way that creates this space in my head of I'm going with, like, I'm not the only one facing challenges, like I'm a part of this greater collective beautiful thing. And so that's why I love the internet.
I agree.
Yes, I still like the internet.
Kinda.
I can't wait until one.
If you want to know who I don't like, my Facebook crowd.
Wait until one of your mantras is like log off of Instagram.
But do I like it or?
How do I'll write you a letter.
Yeah, mail it.
Just a heart.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Any other questions or thoughts? Or?
Do you like this notebook?
I love the Code and Quill notebooks so much.
That's a beautiful one.
Maybe I'll
It's-
click on
yeah.
that.
Try
So
and tell you.
am I gonna? I'm not
Follow
getting.
me
I'm not
for a
getting paid
while.
for this, but I just want to show. The way these notebooks are set up is that the left side is a dot grid and the right side is lined, and it has notches every indentation mark. So you can write code on this side that's properly indented and do drawings on this side on a dot grid. And it lays flat and it writes beautifully, and I love these notebooks, and I have 2 of them. So like this is my journal, and then I have a white one that is just where I scratch stuff, like the Straight Black Man one, since it wasn't actually a stream, it was like a piece. That was on there. The adjust your mask, that's in the other one. So I have just the journal, and then I have a work. But yeah, these are great notebooks. They're totally worth it.
What's the name of the company?
Code and Quill.
Code and Quill.
Yeah.
Dain Saint, sponsored.
Which
Really
makes
good.
sense.
Yeah, I wish that they would just send me more of them.
Do they have a notebook subscription? That'd be smart.
Yeah, I'm gonna be done with this one in another couple months, which will be interesting because that will be the first time I have completed a journal in my life ever. So I'm looking forward to that particular milestone.
That should be a very special moment.
Yeah.
Do like a live video, like
Thing.
last dash. Thank you so much, Shane, for sharing. So we're a little bit past when I thought, but if anyone has been inspired, please hit Adam or I up. We will add you to the list. We try to keep it varied every month so that there's a little bit from all different kinds of things, because somehow that makes us smarter, according to Green.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes, absolutely.
According to Green Science.
Yeah. I'll put you on the list. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. for
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye,
Can I say just a few things? You use the hashtag #_arts.
Okay.
Plug right
You have
into
to wait
our
until it
Indy
like
Hall
warns
Slack
you,
channel.
Hashtag Indy
and then you have to
underscore.
like wait
Okay,
a few
that's
more
the
minutes.
first hashtag
Oh,
on
you're at
every one of my
7
posts. So 3 of it is.
Wow. I'll let
So that's really cool. Just we all see each other getting work done and what we're doing. So it's like,
Yeah, I'll start adding it.
Yeah, I'm gonna start a header for our
Also,
next one.
we will have to figure out. Just did a
I think next